Hi, my name is Becky, and I am going to talk to you about the Holy Trinity of homeschooling. This is something that 25 years ago, when my husband and I started homeschooling, he looked at me and saw a frazzled mom of almost five boys. At the time, I was expecting one of our kids, and I was overwhelmed and frustrated trying to make sense of all the curriculum that I had wisely surrounded myself with in the kitchen. And he looked at me and he said, okay, we need to do some goal casting here, some foundation, rock solid building. And one of the things that we came up with was this holy trinity of homeschooling. And it is the heart of everything that we do. So before you get going, in all three of my sessions in this conference, I have a single worksheet for you that has notes and some resources to help make your life easier. So make sure that you download that. But let's get started. Excuse me. The heart of homeschooling can be found inside a triangle. A triangle because a triangle is a solid shape. It's very, very, very strong. And as Christians, we know the triangle to represent the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Inside of homeschooling, the Holy Trinity of homeschool is based on three aspects of our child's life: their heart, their attitude, and their character. This Holy Trinity of homeschool is the filter that we lay and pursue every time we try to teach our kids something. We filter it through this Holy Trinity. And what does that mean? The heart of our child has to do with their mood, their feeling. Their attitude is that settled way of thinking, and their character is their moral fabric, right? Their integrity, their discipline, their responsibility, their kindness, those qualities that we want them to rest upon. And as we focus on the heart, attitude, and character of our kids, we then teach them academic things, but never by letting go of this area of training. Because if you focus here in this Holy Trinity, if you focus on their heart, do they have a terrible mood? Do they have a hardened way of thinking about something? Every time you mention a subject, do they roll their eyes? Do they get frustrated? That it's settled, it's ingrained in them. Do they have strong character? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? Are they moldable, teachable, responsible, diligent? With this focus, on top of that, we lay academics. So you teach math on top of a child's heart that is cheerful and kind, that has good habits and has strong character. Does that make sense? So how does this happen? 25 years down the road, I can tell you with full confidence, okay, I have five sons. It's as crazy as it sounds. I have five sons. And I can tell you that if I were to start over our homeschool journey, that I would not worry about academics at all, at all. And I would focus right here 100% of the time. Focus on heart, attitude, and character. And I would use academics as a tool or a training medium to help raise up amazing humans. Amazing, in my case, future men, or actually men. My oldest is married and gone. So how do you do this if you are starting out as a homeschooler? Well, the very first thing that I'm going to tell you is that you need to slow down. You are in zero competition with any other homeschooler on the planet. It doesn't matter when your kids read. It matters that your kids learn to read. It doesn't matter when they learn their basic math facts. It matters that they learn their basic math facts and that they can persevere when problem solving. It doesn't matter when they learn how to write legibly. It just matters that at some point they learn to write legibly. So you're not in a race. Just because your child is in kindergarten or fourth grade or ninth grade doesn't mean that you should or could or ever would want to sacrifice the heart of homeschooling for the sake of an academic goal or benchmark. If you take two 13-year-old kids, one has an amazing heart and attitude. They've been trained up in a way that they are teachable, they are respectful, they are loving, they are kind, they are diligent, they have grit and determination, they use their critical thinking skills, they listen. If you take that child, but they don't know anything. They don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, they don't know how to add on paper. Then you take this child that we'll just put a negative sign in there just for the contrast. You take this child that is academically brilliant. This child was given flashcards and fundamentals from birth, right? His parents made sure that he was they were well above the curve. This child read at 3 years old. Oh my gosh, 3 years old. Reading. Could do algebra by the time he was in third grade. And could write fully amazing pieces of literature also by this elusive third grade benchmark. But he's a jerk. And he has a terrible attitude, or she. He's not patient. He's not kind. He knows it all. She knows it all. Okay, both of these kids are now 13. Which one is more teachable? I can teach this child, you can teach this child that has a rock solid heart, attitude, and character foundation. You can teach them anything in a very short period of time. They can learn how to read, how to write, how to do all their basic fundamental math things. They can learn and pull things from history that they should apply to their lives. They can think through scientifically and ask excellent questions. This child is moldable, pliable, but has a rock solid foundation to build upon. This child is going to have some issues because by third grade, a lot of kids are looking their parents in the eye. They have the ability to have amazing conversations, but when not having a solid foundation, they're hard to be around. They don't listen. They project negativity and project an air of superiority because, oh, I learned how to do that when I was only 3. So if you had to choose whether to have a child that you have focused the homeschool or this holy trinity on versus a child that you have filled their brain academically, I'm going to encourage you with gray hair to focus here. Focus on the heart of homeschooling. And what that means is that you might have to slow down. All 5 of my kids were delayed readers. Not because I woke up and said I'm not going to teach my kids how to read, but because they just weren't ready. And we did focus here. We focused on the attitude of what do you do when you can't do something yet. We focused on affirming language and positive attitude and work ethic. And over time, eventually, they not only caught up academically with their peers, but then they shot right past them not because they're anything special, but because their foundation is rock solid. So the first thing in order to teach with this heart of homeschooling as your central focus, focusing on that Holy Trinity, is to slow down. The second thing, and this is magic. So I'm going to put some magic. It's like fairy dust, magic. This is a game called the do-over game. Because I can tell you, out of all the things that you're going to teach your kids, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, writing, reading, understanding historical timelines, scientific methods, the hardest thing is this one, character. And character takes practice. You don't wake up as an amazing adult. You are trained up to be an amazing adult. Now, we use the benchmark of defining amazing adult as someone that is loving, patient, kind, compassionate, selfless, servant. And so we use a biblical standard of what having an excellent character means. And truthfully, even in the world today, excellent character stands out. It's as if your kids, my kids, our kids, are a salmon swimming upstream. And they have to go against the current, but no one can deny that that's an amazing fish. That's an amazing kid. That's an amazing person. And that amazing might be elusive to some people, but the amazing are those godly characteristics that we have spent the time nurturing into our children. So we do this with a game called Do-Over. And the very first thing to realize is what this Do-Over game is an opportunity to train your child to do it again. Because they're going to mess up. Because I mess up. And if I mess up, that means I know that sometimes you mess up as well. And when I mess up, I want the opportunity to do it right. And I want the opportunity to do it again. So we need to give our kids that same dignity, opportunity, that when they mess up, that they have the opportunity to back up and then to try it again. So the way that you do the do-over game is ideally you start it when they're little. 3, 4, 5. You start it when they're munchkins. But you can play this game with teenagers as well. You just have to put food and wonderful drinks into the equation. So the do-over game is a short game, and it is a often repeated game. The first rule of the do-over game is that you do it when everybody is happy. Now, if you're late in the game, meaning the kids are old and they're already kind of gripey, then you need to be creative and you need to do things like serve ice cream when you play this game. It's okay. It's okay. You put M&M's, ice cream, hot fudge, pizza, lemonade, a cup of coffee with whipped cream on top for your teenagers. But you do it when people are happy. And you say, first you introduce the do-over game. We're going to learn a new game called the do-over game. And the way that you play the do-over is that you isolate something that you want your child to do. So you say you want them to switch an eye rolling into a happy face. So the way that the game would work is that you will say, we're going to pretend that I just asked you to clean up your room. And what I want you to do is to roll your eyes and give me a bad attitude. Okay, let's all practice rolling our eyes and giving a bad attitude. And then you have the kids practice. And then you go, oh, come on, you can give me a bigger attitude than that. And then they do it again. Bad attitude. And you're like, great. This time, okay, so now we're going to play the game. And the way the game works is I'm going to ask you to do something. You give me your worst attitude, and I'm going to say the words do over. And what that means is when I say the words do over, you back up and fix it and then do it correctly. And then you practice 1, 2, or 3 times. The younger your kids are, the more addicting this game is. They love to practice having a bad attitude. You can practice having a bad attitude and having the kids say do-over too. So the key here is that anytime you spot something that needs to be addressed, you log it in your mind to play the next time you do a do-over game. A super secret pro tip is that you cannot play the do-over game with kids that are already having a fit, that are already upset, that are already frustrated. This game works like magic when it's played when it's safe. Everybody's in a good mood. You are happy. The kids are happy, fed, rested. But if you do this a couple times a week, you will quickly train your kids into whatever it is that you are hoping that they will master. The things that we personally have done with the do-over game are things like, in 5 minutes, it's going to be time to stop doing what we're doing that's really fun, and then we'll play the do-over game, doing it wrong, having a conniption fit, doing it right. We've practiced the do-over with when I call you, I'm the adult, the child runs to the adult and gives a vocal cue that you heard me. So if I say, hey, sweetheart, your response is, yes, mommy, I'm coming. And then you come to me because I have gray hair. So you come to the gray hair. Do-over. We practice do-over when an assignment is done sloppily, right? Or anything that you can think of. This do-over game is the secret sauce, magic key to getting this right. And the last thing that I want to share with you is that as you are homeschooling your kids, our goal is to raise up amazing people that love the Lord, that love each other, that are compassionate, loving, and kind, and that are educated at the same time. But the and that are educated is kind of the secondary goal. But you never want to throw academics away just to focus here. You do want to teach your kids to read, to write, to add, to subtract, etc. But never let academics trump character. You will not lose any time in their education if you're in the middle of explaining something and it goes bad. And suddenly they're frustrated and you're frustrated. You will never go wrong by taking that and pushing it aside to focus here. This is the key to getting to the other end of the homeschool journey with a smile on your face. We've been homeschooling 25 years, 5 kids. At the end of this homeschool journey, I have this coming school year, I have a sophomore in high school, a senior in high school, a child that just graduated with his high school diploma and his associate's degree, another child that also earned his high school diploma and associate's degree at the same time and just graduated with his bachelor's degree. And I have a child, my oldest, has his associate's degree and is this close to his bachelor's degree, but is fully launched in his life and career as a husband and a provider for his family. And by focusing here on their heart, all 5 of the kids are champions in life. They're the types of people that if you need something, they will be there. If you hire them, they will exceed your expectations. And if you give them an assignment, they understand that they're going to not only complete the assignment, but they're going to exceed whatever those guidelines were for that assignment. So it's okay. Slow down, master this game, the do-over game, focus on the heart of homeschooling, that heart, attitude, and character, and you will find at the end of your homeschool journey that your kids don't just read, but that they're amazing people. So again, this is Becky with A Better Way to Homeschool. Make sure you grab your handout. It is designed so that you could cut it out and use it as bookmarks inside your Bible or inside your lesson planner. And thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your time here.